Hi, everybody. Okay, hopefully I am live and ready to go. Thank you, Andrew, for having me. I appreciate it. I will tell everybody right now. See, I'm going to start messing with my hair already because I'm nervous. A lot of people know me in this group. I'm pretty active in the craft beer professionals group, and normally I am interjecting in conversations on the forum on the Facebook page about sales, outside sales, digital marketing, and distribution management. And that's because I am in my day job a brewery business consultant, basically. I also help other categories of beverage alcohol, but that is what I do pretty much on a daily basis. And I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, I'm a speaker, I'm an author. I do a lot of things, but the thing is that I'm also this subject today on beer and feminism is something that is very important to me. About this speech has been this presentation has been weighing on me for a couple of months. So I will tell you right now, I am very nervous, and that is very that's uncharacteristic of me. If you want to ask me or how to run Facebook ads, I could probably wing something off the top of my. I would be like 400% confident in what I'm talking about. This is new for me because I own my own business now, and I have a platform, and I feel that I have a responsibility for speaking up about these things. So I ask you to be kind with my nerves today. I ask you to be patient with me today. I have a lot of notes. I have a lot of slides. There's a lot of quotes and statistics because, like I said, this is very important to me. It is very close to my heart. And I was very worried about getting it right. I will tell you this, though. I will make mistakes. I will stumble in this, and that's okay, because these are new, brave conversations that we're all having, right? So things will be wrong. If you want to point it out, go ahead. If you don't want to, that's totally cool as well. So Andrew, if you can pull up my slides, please, whenever you're ready. Thank you so much, sir, the guy behind the curtain. Welcome, everybody, to Beer and Feminism, reframing the conversation and why it is good for the beer industry overall. This is one of my favorite quotes about feminism from the ever wonderful Bell Hooks, who is an incredible writer. Any of her work, you could pick them. Feminism is for everybody is a great place to start. To be feminist in any authentic sense of the word is to want for all people, female and male, liberation from sexist role patterns, domination, and oppression. And that's what we're here to talk about today, honestly. So let's get started. I've got a lot to cover with you today. So if you don't know me, hi, I'm Julie Rhodes. I'm the owner and operator of Not Your Hobby Marketing Solutions. Like I said, I am a beverage alcohol business consultant. In my spare time, I'm also a feminist activist, an ally, an advocate. I won't show you my age. I mean, I guess I can. I'll tell you, I'm 42. I've been in this industry for a long time. I'm a veteran of the beer space and the hospitality industry. I have a BA in marketing. I've got lots of other certifications as well. I'm a sales expert. I'm a native Texan, although I have lived all over the place, like Chicago, and I can't name off all the places, but I am currently located in Colorado. I'm not going anywhere for a very long time. I absolutely love it here. It is a wonderful, wonderful place. And I hope to see many of you at CBC this year. I hope. Please come into my backyard with a mask if you can. All right. I'm also a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a business owner. I'm a Pisces. I used to play league pool. So please don't play pool with me. Actually, I encourage you to play pool with me at CBC. I love barbecue. I love donuts. I love beer. And I'm also a feminist. This is what I'm not. All right. I'm not a lawyer. Please don't ask me for legal counsel. Do not quote me on things. I'm not a counselor. I have not been trained in this. I just feel very passionately about it. And I want to talk to other people about this. I'm not a total expert. Like I said, I'm probably going to make some missteps in here, and I'm probably going to stutter a lot, and I'm going to stare at my notes a whole lot. And it's not because I don't care about you. It's because, again, I want to make sure I get this right. I am also completely and totally unwilling to stop learning. All right. I learn something new every single day, whether it's from my children, from my neighbor, from my client partners, from my husband, from somebody that I have a beer with. I love continuous learning, and education is a big high point in my life. And I'm not just talking about academics either. The other thing I'm not going to do is apologize for making you uncomfortable today. I want you to put your big kid pants on. We're going to talk about some very serious things. So let's go ahead and get started. Feminism, what is it? All right, it's a range, according to Wikipedia, I figured that was the easiest for everybody. Feminism is a range of social movements, political movements, and ideologies that aim to define and establish the political, economic, personal, and social equality of the sexes. Thank you, Wikipedia. That's a lot of big words, right? But let's talk about what feminist ideals or thoughts and feminism actually is, right? What it entails. It is liberation from patriarchal values and structures. And we're going to talk about the patriarchy in just a second. It is freedom from oppressive systems. That's another scary word. We'll talk about that as well. That limit your access to resources like education and safety. And it's also the breakdown of societal hierarchies that create institutional prejudice. Blech, right? If anybody likes institutional prejudice, you are in a small minority. That is generally a negative term, okay? That's what we're trying to get away from. Feminism helps us get away from dominant cultures. And when there's a dominant culture, there's discrimination. So whether you're male, female, and please know that I respect and acknowledge all of your pronouns. I won't get by using super inclusive language all the time, but please know when I say women that I'm including all female identifying people in that term. I wish I had a briefer way to say that, but please understand that that's where I'm coming from. When I say men, it's the same thing. Anybody who identifies as male, right? Okay. What feminism is not, right? And I'm going to get to my notes here. Okay, I'm straight now. I told you to bear with me. It is not bra burning. This doesn't mean that I don't shave my armpits. This is not angry women waving signs in pink kitty cat hats. I don't want to say the other word. This is not a group of man haters. This is not a witch hunt. This talk is not only for people who are born female. And finally, the biggest thing of all is that this is not a fight to take away the rights from men in our industry. Just please know that, right? So what is actually the goal today? The goal today is to have an informative and educational conversation, right? This is a judgment-free zone. I want you to bring all your questions. None of them are stupid, right? We are not here to insult each other. We're here to have an adult, brave conversation. Please leave your negativity and misogyny at home. Please don't assume anonymity behind your keyboard. It doesn't make you that much more brave. I also want this to be interactive, and I want it to be productive. Please stick around if you want to learn more and you have an open mind. Please leave if you have nothing but negative comments to say or you want to troll me on Facebook. I don't know. And all curiosities and questions are encouraged and welcome, right? So let's dive right into things. The beer industry is a patriarchy. Ugh, yuck. What is a patriarchy? Okay. It's no secret that the beer world is dominated by straight white men. Let's just say that, let's call a spade, right? It's also, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that beer culture was actually begun pretty much by women. I am not an expert on this. For that, I'm going to defer you to pre-order Tara Nuren's book, A Woman's Place is in the Brew House, where she does explore women in beer as a history. I'm not an expert on that, right? But what I want you to understand is that historically, kind of where we're at, straight white men are in the dominating power group, right, of the craft beer space. And that is what you would kind of call a patriarchy, right? So what exactly is it? Well, it's a social system that is centered around privilege, which means that you have unearned advantages and access to resources, right? The more access to resources you have, the more power you have in that certain society, which protects you from certain social problems, right? Privileged groups are seen as dominant and superior. which pushes less privileged groups of people to the outskirts or the margins of society, which is where we get the term marginalized groups, right? Okay, what's privilege? It could be anything. It could be money, it could be education, it could be feeling safe at work, it could be ease of being accepted into social circles. It could be that you get approved for lending for a brewery over somebody else. It could be being spoken to directly at your brewery instead of being ignored and talked over to the guy behind your shoulder, right? It could be being acknowledged for your skills, knowledge, instead of assuming that somebody else did it. It could be being served first instead of served last. And it could be being made to feel welcome instead of like a nuisance or an outcast, right? So how do we know the beer industry is a patriarchy? Oh, data. Okay. Oh, I had that little red mark on my, okay, we'll try to get that out of there. Of course, it's going to stay there. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So in 2008, the Brewers Association did a study on employees and ownerships of the craft beer world overall. And these are some lovely statistics. I say that with extreme sarcasm. That we got from this, and that is 77% of brewery owners are male. 92% of brewers, head brewers in particular, are male. Only 2% of breweries are 100% female owned. 91% of production managers are all men. And unfortunately, members of the non-binary community were less than 1% in all the categories that they surveyed. All right, so this is why it needs to change. Because what we're experiencing is a dominance culture. Yeah, this term is scary as fuck. I know. And I know Andrew allows me to say cuss words, so I'm just going to let it go. What this does is addresses power dynamics, right? And it's one culture or societal group is in control of a majority, and it pushes the lesser groups to the outskirts, right? To the margins, right? The reason this is bad, it's because it's oppressive. If you want a horrible but pretty vivid analogy, think of colonization of America, right? What dominance cultures actually do is that it encourages marginalization, and in particular usually leads to violence. And I hope that you can see why this is a bad path for our industry. And this is where the marginalized groups within this society, within our industry, like women, those that don't follow heteronormative patterns, different genders, different abilities, different ages, different races, all of this are meant to be treated as worthless, which is literally a play on words, which is you are viewed as being worth less than me, which is the dominant power, which I don't think any of us want to wish on our industry whatsoever, right? So let's talk about the benefits of feminist thought in fighting this whole thing, right? So why everybody should be a feminist. This guy's a feminist, whether he doesn't look like a typical stereotypical feminist, right? But he is, right? A feminist could be anybody. Studies have shown that patriarchal societies are bad for both men and women, right? The WHO, the World Health Organization, in 2018 did a study that showed that men actually sleep better, they have lower rates of suicide, and are generally happier in societies. They have less cases of depression and anxiety, where the genders work more equally together. Who doesn't want that? Those are fantastic things, right? Companies thrive when inclusion is present. There's a sharing of ideas and perspectives. Believe it or not, diverse work cultures actually make you more productive. This is proven. It moves us away from a dominant culture. It enables us to move away from things like hate crimes and rape culture. That's another scary term. I know people don't like saying that. I told you I'd make you uncomfortable, but these are things that we have to talk about, right? We all thrive both physically and mentally when there is an absence of a dominant culture. Feminist concepts allow us to practice inclusivity overall and to use a lens of intersectionality. So this is a term that was coined by Kimberly Williams Crenshaw in 1989 to define the oppression of Black women within society. And the best way I can explain this is to give you an example. Say you are a Black queer female that is applying for lending for your brewery concept or taproom concept, and you get denied. Intersectionality means that not only were you denied because you're female, but also at the intersection of being Black and queer at the same time, and any intersection of those three things that are all layered on top of each other. It's understanding intersectionality as a qualitative analytic framework for understanding how aspects of a person's social and political identities combine to create different modes of discrimination and privilege, right? And I want to tell you that taking feminist thoughts moves us away from intersectionality so that we can open our minds a little bit more. And again, it benefits in many ways. There are millions of examples. I will throw out some to you just so you know. FMLA, it's not just for women, it's for men as well. Who do you think invented the jockstrap? Guys, a lady. That wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for feminist thought that made women in a space to where they could be inventors. Literally, ladies are protecting your balls. Men can hold positions that were traditionally held for women, like nurses and teachers and stay-at-home dads, right? That's a thing. It destroyed stereotypes for people with HIV/AIDS. It actually brought awareness to male sexual violence. If you want some really eye-opening statistics, go to the website of the 1 in 6 Foundation and check out that. It led to advances in reproductive rights for females that have led to more choices for men in general. And what feminism does for the beer world overall is that it makes it most truly equitable and inclusive, right? So let's talk about how we can all be feminists. How can we put this into practice? Well, there's a million ways, but I picked out 5, and I'm going to go through all of these right now, right? We're going to talk about education. We'll talk about code of conduct, more equitable hiring practices, inclusive sales and marketing techniques, and how to have brave conversations, right? So let's start with education. I'm huge on education. And again, this doesn't just mean academics. This actually means, just education in general. Oh my goodness. I just switched over on StreamYard to actually see the comments. So now I can actually see things. If you have questions, please put them in the comment section. Please, please, please. I want this to be as interactive and productive as possible. Okay. I appreciate all of you out there. Taking a feminist approach to education means that it is, first and foremost, it is not my job to educate you. I'm doing this because I want to today, but I don't want you to go to all the females on your brewery staff and say, hey, tell me what it's like to feel a woman, right? Like, what have you faced? Blah, blah, blah. It's fine to ask questions, but don't lean on them for everything that you need to know. You need to do some stuff yourself, right? I don't know what it's like to be a Black female in the industry, or somebody that is outside of a heteronormative relationship. So what do? I pay people to give me the education on that. By the way, big shout out to Dr. J, Crafted for All, Ren, Beer Diversity, Black and Soul. I love everyone in that space. So the first thing we need to do is talk about some of the ways that we can address education. I plug. I'm also drinking water out of a Crafted for All glass. And I'm going to be talking a lot, so I might be chugging water a lot. All right. First, let's talk about unconscious bias, what it is, how to fight it, how to recognize it. Let's talk about checking your privilege. We're going to talk about how to fight misogyny together. And finally, we're going to talk about communication. All right. So what is bias? Everybody has bias. It's human nature. Don't feel bad. Everyone has it. It's just you have 2 different kinds of bias. You have conscious bias, which is your explicit bias. You've got unconscious bias, which is also known as implicit bias, right? Implicit or unconscious bias is not your fault. It comes from other factors, right? It comes from your environment, the way that you were brought up, things that were modeled to you, things that you were shown in media. Do not guilt yourself for unconscious bias. You just have to know how to get out of your own head, right? It's not rocket science. You just have to use your brain. All right. So, example. All right. Unconscious bias. I was at a sales meeting. This is years and years ago. I was at a national sales meeting. Somebody made a point that I thought was really stupid. I raised my hand. I spoke up. I gave my opinion, and then somebody from the peanut gallery in the back chuckled that it must be that time of month. No, No, you didn't, right? This is unconscious bias. Not cool, right? Think about it this way. If that was a dude that had spoken up in a meeting, would you have said the same thing to him? No, absolutely not. That doesn't make sense, right? So check your unconscious bias, right? Would you make that comment, right? I want everybody to practice this at home. Do a little exercise. Think of a time where you defaulted to like a stereotype or something that you already have in your head about somebody, and how would that affect others, right? How would that come off in public? How would I want you to really get in your own space and think about this, and think about how you can work on recognizing your implicit bias, and how you can make a change. So let's talk about 2 ways that you can make a change, right? Practice substitution. And this is not from me, right? This is from things that I've read and learned. There's a method called substitution. Swap out the person that you're stereotyping and making an assumption about with somebody else that looks like you. And then would your reaction be the same way? Like the meeting example, right? Like if old dude in the back that like screamed that I was on my period, if I had been swapped out with, say, Bob, my coworker, would that even make sense? No, it wouldn't at all. So before you make commentary out loud or before you make a joke or something like that, think about substituting. Think about what would happen if you put a different person in that spot and see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, that's your unconscious bias showing. All right. The other thing is experience things outside of your norm, right? So interacting or seeking out information from those that are outside of your normal circle of friends or environment or coworkers, whatever it is, that will help you recognize unconscious bias, like putting yourself in a different situation, learning new things, listening to new things. This is why diverse workforces are so incredibly important, right? And there we go. I just talked about unconscious bias. See, here you go. There's some bullet points for you. You can go back and look at them later because I just totally didn't change the slide. All right, moving on. Checking your privilege, right? Okay, so patriarchal system is centered around people with privilege, right? That means that you possess an unearned advantage and have access to resources that others don't have, right? It means that you have been treated a certain way and have more power in society and protection from experiencing social problems because you have more choices, right? You just have more choices overall. Straight white guy with a beard, way more choices than indigenous queer woman with a wife and a brewery plan, right? I'm sure you can see the difference, right? Knowing that you have privilege will allow you to keep your eyes open to the experience of the others who don't, right? Realizing this will allow you to step outside of your own echo chamber and acknowledge that others might need some additional help. I saw a question months ago in our group, in the CBP group, and someone said, why should I even be concerned that minorities don't have a fair shake in the craft beer industry? And I don't know what was meant by minorities. It could be anything: female, Black, indigenous, queer, whatever, right? You should be worried about that because it's the dominance culture leads to other people being marginalized continuously and discriminated against and oppressed. And oppression is not good for any society, any space at all. You just have to make it personal for yourself. You have to think what that feels like. What would that feel like for you, right? I see that question. I don't know who you are from. I can't see who the Facebook people are on, but I will come back to that about working hard. It doesn't matter how hard you work. That's a selfish viewpoint. You're only thinking about yourself and not others. Those people probably work just as hard as you did. It's just you had a little bit easier because you had some advantages that they didn't, right? And it's not that you're providing extra advantages. Again, I'm going to quote Dr. J on this. It's like, I think her analogy is with like a bar top. And instead of giving somebody a stool to come up to the same height at the bar top, that you're actually lowering the bar top so that everybody can be served at the same level. Oh, Dr. J, I'm sorry if I really screwed that up, but I'm trying super hard to get this right. Okay. I I know that I am privileged. All right. Not only am I white. Yes, I'm a female. Okay. That's one thing I'm battling. Right. But I have a husband. I have a very heteronormative relationship, a traditional marriage. I have a college education. I have support from my parents. I have a car. I don't have to worry about transportation. I have healthcare. I have all of these things, right? Just realize that that is not normal for everybody in our space. It's not. So, I want you to grab a pen. We're going to go through a little exercise. I'm trying to talk super fast because I want to fit all of this in. Okay, grab a piece of paper and a pen or something. Pull up your phone. I am going to read you a whole bunch of things, and I want you to put a hash mark for everything that applies to you, and then I'll explain why at the end. Okay, number one, you see people that look like you in mainstream media, including trade publications, beer publications that we read, right? And beer media. Number two, you can easily purchase clothing, PPE, or other items that you need to work in the beer space that fits your size and exact body type. Number three, you don't have to hide your romantic relationship from your coworkers. Number four, you can physically enter and function in any space in your brewery or tap room with ease, as in you do not need assistance from a ramp or a wide doorway or specialized bathroom or audio or visual device. Number five, you're not asked where you're from originally on a daily basis. Number six, you don't have to prepare your children to deal with discrimination. Number seven, you're not afraid to call the police. Number eight, you're going to college or paying for continuing education, and it's not an issue. Number nine, you routinely seek medical care, and you don't have to worry about how your gender will affect the quality of that care. Number 10, no one tells you to smile. And number 11, your identity is not considered a psychological disorder. I want you to tally up their marks. The more marks you have, the more privilege you have. If you don't realize that, please take a moment of reflection after this call, right? I wish I could have more time with you, but I only have a limited amount of time. So how do we fight misogyny together? Yay, misogyny. No, it's horrible. This is another scary as fuck term to talk about. It's the practice of hostile sexism to keep women who challenge patriarchal norms, right, in our patriarchal society, to keep them in their place. Keep ladies in the kitchen, baking pies, barefoot, not hauling around malt bags. All right. So it reinforces stereotypes of women's roles in society. It also feeds the machine of discrimination, harassment, and yes, this leads to sexual violence. All right. It is scary. It's bad. Let's just say this. It is birthed from unconscious bias and stereotypes, right? Here's some examples. Women shouldn't be brewers. Physical labor is too hard for them. Or, hey, you're a head brewer. Who'd you sleep with to get that position? Horrible misogyny, right? If you've made these comments before, please stop. Please stop. Another example, making sexist jokes amongst your staff and then making any female who finds it offensive to feel bad because she can't take a funny joke. It's not right. All right? Misogyny is gross. We will get to beer names and labels that reflect misogyny in just a second. I was appalled by some of these ones that I found. So how do we fight it together? It's like 9/11. There's a bunch of Gen Z here, people here that probably don't remember 9/11. If you see something, say something. If something doesn't feel right, say something. Take a stand. Make sure that your staff knows it's okay to take a stand. It's okay to say something. You will not lose your job. You won't get fired. You won't get degraded. You won't get vilified if you say something. We need to all get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Otherwise, nothing is going to change, right? And let others know it's okay. Excuse me, my voice is getting dry again. It's okay to be an ally. It's okay to break patterns. It's okay to rock the boat. It's okay to be loud. It's okay to be a feminist, right? Because we got to break some norms, all right? So let's talk about communication. You don't need an HR department to create change. You just need a voice, all right? I think everybody here has a voice. At least you have a keyboard. I know you have that much. Everybody talks to people, right? All you have to do is talk to people. Talk to your staff. Talk to your customers. Use your voice. Create change from within. We don't have to have a ton of resources. We just have to have one productive conversation at a time. And it's a ripple effect, right? That's how this works, right? It will actually work, right? Okay, set expectations. Take a direct stand. This is your business. It's not somebody else's. You can do what you want to with your business. Okay? Take a stand for things. Believe in something. Create change from within, right? Provide opportunities for your team. Provide continuing education. It could be as simple as Googling some YouTube videos for your team to watch. That's great. Should you hire a consultant? Awesome. If you have the resources to do that, fantastic. Otherwise, check out some books from the library. Read some articles. It's called the interwebs. You can find all kinds of cool stuff on it, right? Education, not necessarily academics, but open-mindedness, right? Another thing that we can do is codes of conduct and fostering inclusive company cultures, right? Change can begin with simple actions in anticipation. Oh shit, what could go wrong? Oh, okay, we know what could go wrong. Here's what we do, right? Triage. People don't come in wearing a mask. What do? Right? You did that during the pandemic. You can do it with misogyny. You can do it with sexism. You can do it with discrimination. You can do it with harassment, right? You can do the same exact thing. This is the shit that could hit the fan, and this is how we're going to solve it together, right? Because this could happen. Come up with possible solutions before they even happen. Set up an employee code of conduct. Decide what behaviors and attitudes will not be tolerated. Again, use Google. This is not rocket science. There's templates on there. Use them. Get inspiration from other companies, right? And if you're feeling stuck, consult with somebody. Another thing, fostering inclusive company culture, right? This is creating expectations within your own teams and employees and saying that we're not going to tolerate prejudice, misogyny, and bigotry, right? Boost awareness from within, right? Ensure that you are setting an example. Set the tone from the top, right? Division of labor is equitable, right? Tasks are not assigned by stereotype. Make sure that you don't have wage gaps, please. And not just male and female, but also BIPOC female, queer males, whatever it is. No wage gaps, please. Providing a safe space for everybody to work together, right? And make sure that you're creating products in a neutral, unbiased manner, and make sure that people know if they violate codes of conduct, that there will be corrective action, and make sure that you're also getting feedback from your team members so that they can contribute to this as well. All right. Okay, the other thing that you can have is a customer code of conduct. If you're asking your team members to act a certain way, why would you not want to ask your customers or people that are coming into your facility to act a certain way? We expect people to check bigotry at the door, right? All right, that's what you want. You are allowed to say that. Again, this is your business. You create what you're fostering, right? The customer is not always right, even during a pandemic. We all learn that the hard way, right? You want to set equitable expectations, all right? So, more equitable hiring practices. I could go on and on about this. I'm just going to read this slide. If you need more information, again, I'm not an expert on this, but these are the things that you can do. And I'm just going over this briefly for the sake of time. Rethink the language on your job postings, standardize the hiring process, post beyond your typical and familiar network. Just because you posted a job on your Facebook page, guess what? Those are all people that look like you. You need to go further than that, right? You need to reframe your job postings. Focus on the results that you want and not just requirements, like a personal vehicle or a college degree. Skills can be built up. Think about the results that you want from that job posting and not just the skill sets that you're trying to require. Have them do a skill test during an interview instead of just forming your own opinions about that person, right? Like, how would you react to this certain situation, right? Like, what would you do in this situation? What have you done in the past in this situation, right? Come up with like a scorecard or something so that it's like even Steven across the board, right? Oh, and by the way, Dr. J just talked about this on the BA Collab Hour, developing a diverse employment pipeline, just so you know. Lots of good information out there. Okay, let's talk about more equitable sales and marketing practices. So I normally teach sales and marketing. So this is kind of sort of in my wheelhouse. Good thing I'm also a lady. So, all right. What is inclusive marketing? I found a HubSpot definition that I really like. It's Campaigns that embrace diversity by including people from different backgrounds or stories that unique audiences can relate to. Some of them break stereotypes, and others simply embrace the people in the real world. Okay. I have a Amazon Prime person at my front door, and my dogs are now going crazy. So it'll stop in just a second. Shh. There we go. Problem solved. All right. I also found this. 64% of consumers are more likely to take a purchase action after seeing an ad or marketing campaign that they consider inclusive. This was a study done by Google in 2019 called the Female Quotient. By the way, who spends the most money in typical households? Females. Female identifying individuals, just so you know. All right. Why is inclusive marketing important, right? You need to think about ways that you're entering new markets, right? Being representative of the people that are there and being authentic. This means you're going to have to go beyond slapping pink on your label or putting a rainbow on there. You're actually going to have to walk the walk, right? So know that. Think about what you're projecting in your media. Does everybody look like you? Ugh, that's a problem. Make it diverse. Make it inclusive. Not everybody looks like you. There are real people out there with real bodies and shapes and skin tones and hair and ages and abilities, and people in wheelchairs like beer. Black people like beer. You know, I'm a mom. I'm a white mom in suburbia. I like beer, you know, just be aware of that, right? Celebrate variety. Here we go. Evaluate your product names, please. I'm going to throw you some product names. I don't like saying these, but I feel like it's going to make a point. These are not funny. I don't care if they're defended by another female in the industry. These are not funny. These are names that encourage, and I'm going to say this, rape culture. Rape for men, rape for female. This is not good for our industry, and it needs to stop. So here's a few that I found. Mouth raper, raging bitch, brown angel, big titty assassin, panty dropper, chunky gal, BBW, happy ending, leg spreader, sex and candy, naughty girl, panty peeler, and kilt lifter. No, hard pass. Don't do it. Please don't. You're doing nothing but making the problem in our industry even worse. All right. If you want to talk to me about diversifying your sales efforts, I would love to talk to you. I have talked way too long today, but there's a wonderful article that I've linked to at the end of my slides here, and I will make sure that you have access to that and to those links as well. But it's how to sell using psychological bias. It's from HubSpot. It's a fantastic article. Just know that you do have unconscious bias in the sales space as well. Why is this conversation so important for beer? It's hard to lift as we climb. Okay? It's hard to lift as we climb. We need allies. We need advocates. And not just for women, but for persons of color, BIPOC members, Asian Pacific Islander communities, the differently abled, older, younger, queer, straight, whatever you want to call us, outside of heteronormative white male, we need help. And this is a call for help, okay? Craft beer is super inclusive when it comes to beer styles, right? We'll make up all kinds of stuff, but yet we can't get our own shit together within our own industry. The burden is heavy. We should be lifting people with allies and advocates as we move along, as we all climb up together. For the record, men who work well with women actually outperform their peers that don't. Here's some more statistics for you. And at some point, you have probably experienced toxic masculinity in some way, shape, or form. And I hope that you think about that next time when you think about your work environment or how you're working with your female peers. Think about if that was your mom, your sister, your grandmother, a cousin, a neighbor, a friend. How would that make you feel, right? We can improve productivity. We can encourage creativity. We can provide a healthy work buddy by taking on feminist thoughts, by leading by example with these principles. It increases employee engagement, it encourages team building, it improves innovation. Diverse companies are more profitable, right? And all of these things lead to a more profitable industry overall, which we should all want. These are the resources that I have for you. I won't spend time on this slide, but Andrew, I'm sure we can hook these up so that people can see them. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here. We've got a handful of minutes left. If there's anybody that has questions, Andrew, I can't see the questions on YouTube. I don't know if you want to jump in. I can see the questions though from, let me see if there's, I don't see any on here, honestly. I love that someone is publishing something about this. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to read that. Please contact me and share it with me. Oh yeah, this is what I do for my day job. I do business consulting. I am totally not trained on social justice. It just makes my heart happy. And I love this industry so much. For anybody that knows me, you know how much this industry means to me. My children celebrate Oktoberfest. My kids won't touch your barrels if we go to your brewery. They will sit in their seat the whole time. My husband is in the industry and packaging and fabrication and brewing, and I have been part of this industry for over 13 years, and it would mean so very much to me if I could see it grow. And the day that I could say to somebody in high school or college, somebody that does identify as female, yes, get into the beer industry. It is wonderful. It is inclusive. It is welcoming. It's safe. That's where I want to go with this. That's where I want to go with this. So I hope that you learned a little bit today. I hope that this felt like a productive conversation and not something that's like screamy and preachy. That's where to find me. If you want to find me, I'm on all the social media things. I'm mostly on Facebook and Instagram, but I do some tweety tweets every now and then. But please reach out to me. I'm a one-woman show over here. You can reach me by email. It's not on here, but julie@notyourhobbymarketing.com. And thank you, Andrew, for letting me rant and rave a little bit more. I don't know. Are there any questions that anyone has? For me to finish 2 minutes early is astounding. Absolutely astounding. You can see how much I'm talking. Oh, Andrew, women also spend more per brewery visit. Yeah, duly noted. Andrew's the taproom data guru. More inclusive environment for women, the higher the spend in the taproom. It's not just about that, but it is something that helps business overall. And thank you, everyone, again, for being here. Thanks for putting up with my cuss words and my passion. And I hope to hear from all of you soon. And anytime you want to have a conversation about this, please get a hold of me. Otherwise, I will see you later. Have a great conference, everybody. Bye.